Hi, welcome to my political show, Kavindu Political Times, for my latest episode. Before starting the show, I want you to hit the like button and subscribe to my show. Now let's get started. Now today on the show we're going to talk about justice has now finally been served, and while justice being served, controversial decisions are also being made. So let's get into the justice part. Let's get to justice. The justice part. George Floyd, one of the most infamous names and characters have gone around in the world since the shooting happened. And finally the verdict has come. And the police officer who was charged of murdering George Floyd has found guilty of all three charges. And that is great news. That's proving that the American justice system can punish people who does a crime, whether they are cops or police officers. That's great to know. And it's great to know that a fight that began has achieved its objective, and that's a true expression of achievement. Now, of course, the optimism, as myself, I was eagerly waiting for the verdict at the trial, and I will be brutally honest, I wasn't expecting the verdict to come guilty, knowing how previous cases gone in the United States when it comes to crime on race. You start to think it's very unlikely that this should be thing, but it did, and it was a moment of excitement and a moment of relief knowing that justice has been served. But however, while justice have been served, this is only one case. There are many cases happening in the United States right now with no justice being served, and I wouldn't a shooting of a 13-year-old as things like those. The reality is this case shows that there is hope. There is justice. But to get justice, people have to come together. Communities must tape record and record every conversation, videotape every conversation, or everything what happens on the outside when a police officer does that. Can people do this every single time? It can't. If change has to happen, change needs to happen. This is not change. Because end of the day, we can't be celebrating a moment like this. This should be something, a common factor. This should be common. We should not be focusing on this. If someone kills someone, they are guilty. That's reality. And of course, that's a fact. But end of the day, at least one war has been won. And that is a tremendous moment. So let's hope more of these situations will happen. I also heard that they're looking into police tactics as well, on excessive force. That is something to deeply look forward to, what they will be getting into on those. Now moving on from that, a moment of justice, I want to say my condolences for the death of Prince Philip. I want to say honorable British royalty. Indeed, my condolences for Prince Philip. Now moving on from that, let's talk about American troops leaving Afghanistan. One of the most controversial topics with absolutely no doubt. Now, this has brought both the aisles into the conversation table. Even some Democrats are a bit shaky. But I personally think it's important that the United States leave Afghanistan, because Afghanistan by now should be able to govern their country without the need of American troops, presence of the American troops. It should be the case. I mean, how long should the American troops stay in Afghanistan just to help them run the country? I mean, that doesn't make any practical sense. Remember, when we went to Afghanistan in 2001, George W. Bush, we went there for a short time period. But many things have happened since 2001. In fact, I was born in 2001. And I'm now pretty much nearly 20. And think about it. And the war is going on even now. And that is pretty good to know that the war in Afghanistan is over. Because the Afghanistan government must have the ability to govern the country without the need of the American troops. If they can't, well, they are dumb and useless. But the good news is they are capable. Let's hope they say they are capable. Let's hope they are. Because if they don't, all the hard work that men and women have achieved in Afghanistan will be gone into waste. And that's reality. And of course, on this decision, Republicans have come attacking President Biden and the Biden administration. Look, I would admit, I wasn't the biggest fan many years ago when President Obama pulled out of Iraq. I personally thought that was a very defensive move. But Iraq was something that should have never been moved in the first place. But Afghanistan was an unnecessary war to begin with, where we could have done this through diplomacy years ago. or bringing peace to Afghanistan, but of course that wasn't the case. There was many agendas included on there. Let me give you a rewind. Why the United States went to Afghanistan in the first place? They went to Afghanistan attempting to capture Osama bin Laden, but they went there but became completely something else. It became into a situation of after the civil war in Afghanistan from 1996 to 2001, after all that circumstances, that's how the United States stationed themselves in Afghanistan. Something to consider. So we went to a country, went for one purpose, ended up staying there for an entire different purpose. In the end, it's noble, but you can't do too much for a noble purpose, and that's reality. So on that note, I am going to end the show on that note. Before end of the show, I want to hit the like button and subscribe to my show. Thank you very much.